Lukaku lives up to expectation. Ronaldo to stay put at Juventus, last chance for Kane and Man City, a transfer window wrap thanks to our friends at cryptocurrency trading platform Bybit, and this week's Emoji Mondays, all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host, Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. So first up, and yesterday, all eyes were on the Premier League and of course Chelsea as they faced Arsenal, and more importantly, Romelu Lukaku as he made his return to the Premier League and to Chelsea. It's been about 10 years since we saw him wearing a Chelsea shirt, and his return was an absolute dream. He was pretty much unplayable at times in a performance that he himself dubbed as dominant. Of course, Lukaku did manage to find the back of the net with his third touch in the game. He could have actually scored another one as well had it not been for Arsenal's goalkeeper. But this was actually Lukaku's first goal for Chelsea. He never managed to get one in his prior years at the club. He'd never even managed to make a Premier League start before with Chelsea, as he did cut more of a peripheral figure when he was previously at the club. However, like I say, it was a great performance. He did what Lukaku does best, especially when it comes to holding the ball with his back to the goal, and he gave Arsenal's defence an absolutely torrid time. In addition, his touch was impressive, which is something that he's faced a little bit of criticism with before when he was previously in the Premier League, and he did seem to link up well with Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. And all this has done is give us a clear indication that if Chelsea are going to be stopped this season, it is not going to be an easy task. Meanwhile, his previous club, Inter Milan, they seem to be doing all right without him, as they of course got a 4-0 victory over Genoa in Serie A. Now, during the Chelsea game, although Arsenal did have moments where they looked okay, all in all, it was a bit of a disaster. This start to the Premier League has been a complete disaster, one of their worst starts in history, as they have now played their first 2 games in the Premier League. They've lost them both and they've not even managed to score. Of course, Mikel Arteta has come out talking about the fact that Chelsea do have players injured, players with COVID. Whilst Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was on the bench against Chelsea, the likes of Alexandre Lacazette, Thomas Partey, etc. are all, of course, out. And now, of course, their latest signing, Ben White, who is out with COVID. So yeah, it has been difficult for them. They have not got a full squad that is fit. However, things are not looking great for Arteta. For the first time in 533 days, Arsenal had their biggest crowd at the Emirates. And what happened? They were actually booed at full time. Now, whilst Mikel Arteta does not hold this against the fans, you can understand why they're frustrated. Fans are bound to be nervous. And at the end of the day, although this is only the beginning of the Premier League season, things aren't looking great for Arsenal, and things definitely are not looking great for Arteta, and it remains to be seen if he is truly the man for the job. Next up, in the Cristiano Ronaldo rumours once again did the rounds, as the player was actually benched for Juventus' Serie A game. Now, according to journalist Fabrizio Romano, this was actually something that Ronaldo wanted himself, as allegedly the player is looking to try and figure out what he's going to do in the upcoming days regarding a potential move. However, whatever's going on, the player did manage to make an appearance in the second half. We thought that he had scored the winner as the game was 2-2. Ronaldo managed to score in the 95th minute, but it was ruled out by VAR. Now, despite these rumours that the player is looking for a way out, the powers that be at Juventus have come out and stated that the reason Ronaldo was benched was because it was the beginning of the season. Sometimes players need a little bit of a break, and also it was a decision that was made jointly with the coach as well. The club have also stated that Ronaldo is 100% staying. They have not had any offers for him, and they are asking the media to not sensationalise what is going on. Cristiano Ronaldo himself has also come out talking about the speculation regarding a potential move. It doesn't seem like he will be going anywhere anytime soon. I wouldn't completely rule it out, as let's face it, stranger things have happened in football, but as Juventus keep saying, no formal offers have come in for the player. So for now, it seems like Juventus will be keeping Cristiano Ronaldo. He will be staying in Serie A, and I guess we'll have to wait and see if anything does change in the upcoming days. And finally, this weekend, we managed to see Harry Kane in a Spurs shirt as he came on in Spurs' victory over Wolves. However, for how much longer will Harry Kane realistically be a Spurs player? Of course, Daniel Levy has been trying to keep hold of the player allegedly, but it seems like as we head towards the end of the transfer window, Manchester City are still plotting one last-ditch attempt to try and sign the player. I think in this situation, props to City, as they clearly only have Harry Kane on their radar. Of course, they were linked with Dusan Vlahovic. He, of course, plays for Fiorentina, but apparently City didn't actually make any contact with the player, and Fiorentina are actually rejecting a bid bid from Atletico Madrid for him, so it doesn't seem like he will be gracing the Premier League with his presence anytime soon. It seems like Harry Kane is the only realistic option that Manchester City have been looking at. With time cutting so fine now, it doesn't seem like they're going to have a realistic backup for him either. So if they don't manage to get Harry Kane in this last-ditch attempt, it seems like City will continue the season without a star striker. Now, if this is the case, how much is this going to potentially hinder Manchester City's performance, especially in their bid to win some silverware? Now, don't get me wrong, they can still definitely score some goals. There are definitely numerous players on that pitch that can definitely find the back of the net. We saw that at the weekend when they did get that 5-0 win over Norwich, and of course they had 4 different goal scorers on the score sheet. Now, I'm not saying that Norwich is the standard of football that Manchester City will be facing week in, week out, no disrespect to Norwich, but this definitely is encouraging. However, you can't deny the fact that when you have a player like Harry Kane potentially signing for your club, you're going to miss a player like that. And now we have our transfer window wrap brought to you by our friends at cryptocurrency trading platform Bybit. And first up, it seems like AC Milan and Barcelona are both interested in signing Manchester City's Bernardo Silva. In the final 8 days of the transfer window, it seems like Rennes could be willing to let Eduardo Camavinga go for around €35 million, as reportedly he will not sign a new long-term contract. According to reports, Jose Mourinho is keen to bolster his defence with Roma and is looking at Barcelona's Clement Lenglet as an option. And finally, Chelsea have upped their interest once again in Sevilla's Jules Koundé and reportedly are willing to let go Davide Zappacosta, Kurt Zouma and Ike Ugbo in order to get the player. And now we have Friday feels. Of course, on Friday's Daily News, you guys put in the comments your predictions for some of the games that took place over the weekend. So let's see who got their predictions right. First up, Hassi XY predicted correctly that Spurs would get a 1-0 victory over Wolves. Jiten Gamwani predicted correctly that Manchester City would beat Norwich 5-0. And finally, Youssef predicted that Roma would get a win over Fiorentina. And last but by no means least, we have Emoji Mondays. This is where we slap a few emojis on some of the weekend's action. Now, first up, craziest moment, it has got to go to that Nice-Marseille game. So, Marseille's player Dimitri Payet, he had a bottle thrown at him by fans. He reacted by throwing it back, and what this meant is that Nice fans stormed the pitch. There were quite a couple of altercations, Marseille's coaching staff even got involved, and both sets of players ended up going into the tunnel and off the pitch. After quite a lengthy delay, the game was supposed to start up again, but Marseille stated that they did not want to come back out onto the pitch, as reportedly a number of their players were injured in the altercations with the fans. Now, Nice have turned around and said that it's Marseille's fault, Marseille are saying that it's Nice's fault. All that seems to be the case in this situation is that why are bottles being thrown? It happened a few weeks ago in another game with Marseille. It's completely out of order. It puts fans and players in danger, and it definitely needs to be looked at. Next, we're going with best player, and for me, it has got to be Tammy Abraham. He hasn't had it the easiest at Chelsea, let's be honest. He's definitely been on the outs. He's made this move to Roma, and already he's managed to get a standing ovation from fans. He wasn't actually on the score sheet, he did come close, but he managed to provide 2 assists in Roma's 2-1 victory over Fiorentina. And lastly, we have best game, and I'm actually going to go with Real Madrid's 3-3 draw with Levante, as it was pretty entertaining. I mean, first up you had Gareth Bale. He managed to score his first La Liga goal since 2019. It's great to see Carlo Ancelotti using the player, and I'm intrigued to see how his season does go. Then, of course, whilst Real Madrid were leading, Levante did manage to fight back. Jose Campaña scored a phenomenal volley, really great goal. And then for Real Madrid, it was Vinicius Jr. who managed to save the day. He put in such a brilliant performance. And then, of course, Levante's goalkeeper ended up getting sent off after they'd made all of their substitutions. For the neutrals, like I say, it was a very entertaining game. I'm sure that Real Madrid will be kicking themselves, but overall, I think it was great to watch. So that's it for today's One Football Daily News. As always, check out all the other content that we have got here, and until next time, I will see you all later.